The most common use in business at the moment is to reduce the cost to serve. So right now, if you want to serve some information to a customer through a contact centre on the telephone, typically that's the equivalent of about £5 an hour to serve up that piece of information. But if you can put it out on Twitter or onto a Facebook group, then the cost to serve is reduced down to almost near zero. Equally, businesses are now finding that they get such rich information about individuals in these networks as they're using it also for recruitment, and we all know traditionally how much that costs.
Right. What you've sort of indicated is used very much for the, if you like, the customer interface support.
Yes.
What about its use internally? Do you see that there's an application there?
Absolutely. In fact, I've always said the greatest transformative nature, or the place in which social networking and social software can be most transformative is actually inside the company. We've all seen the results of lack of openness, trust and transparency has brought us to a global recession. And indeed, by deploying this kind of software and these kinds of new ways of working, hopefully we'll create a little bit more transparency. But more importantly, Graham, it's really about mindset. In many respects, for a large company or a large brand to understand the way these networks work, they themselves must become network-centric.
Right, but do you see that that applies to industry as a whole, or are there highly regulated sectors of the industry, such as financial services, where the risks might be just too great for this sort of freedom of action?
I don't think so, Graham. I don't think actually the laws have not our laws around freedom of speech, our laws around libel, our laws around copyright have not substantially changed actually since the dawn of the internet. We've not had to make really wholesale changes to our existing laws to accommodate this. I mean, if you look at financial services, you can make a phone call into a contact centre, it's recorded. In the same way you can record any kind of a conversation in these social networks. So quite a lot of protection is already there.
Right. But in many respects, it does seem that the whole thing is developed on trust.
Yes.
And that isn't always so easily achieved in commercial organisations. No,
it isn't. I mean, years ago, after the Enron disaster and the Enron meltdown, there was the US government carried out a post-mortem,
right,
and found that when they mined all the information inside all the news groups, these were news groups that pre-existed Facebook and MySpace and these other social networking tools, they found that all the signs, I mean, there were basically people predicting inside these email groups at that time, predicting the demise of Enron 2 years before with stunning accuracy. Okay, so the reality is, when a corporation tries to be closed, the reality is that it's leaking all the time, so you may as well be open. So trust is really the killer app. One final thing on this point, is that if a board of directors knew that the discussions they were having and the decisions they were making, the ones that weren't commercially sensitive, were going to be made public, would they make the same decisions?
Well, I guess that's difficult to foretell. I would guess they probably wouldn't.
I rest my case.
Okay, we're currently in a process of recession.
Yes.
Yeah. Companies are going to find it very difficult to implement new things,
yes,
particularly where there's an investment involved.
Yes.
What is your recommendation for companies now in relation to social networking technologies or features, so that when they come out of recession, they're well positioned?
I would say there are two things, Graham. The first is, here's an idea. let everyone else have an idea. In other words, use your customers and all your other stakeholders to come up with the best ideas for new products and services. Because guess what? It kind of reduces the risk of getting it wrong. If you can now ask 1 million people what particular type of widget you would like to make for them, and they tell you what it is, and when you bring it to market, you'll kind of get it right.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. I think the second thing is the most powerful thing a brand can do is actually connect its customers. So for example, if you were a bank, why don't you connect people who have got work to the people that can execute it? You know, plumbers to householders, second homeowners to people who will rent it. And this kind of software enables that to happen at scale and in an efficient, secure way.
That's an interesting idea. Thanks very much, Lee.
You're welcome.
I do appreciate it.
You're welcome.